A hunter and his dog had lived in harmony for so many years in their little farmhouse. Indeed, the dog is man's best friend. This dog was very loyal that even in bad times, it always defended Jimmy. One sunny afternoon, a hungry mountain lion picked the smell of Jimmy taking a nap under a tree. It crouched steadily towards the snoring Jimmy. The hungry mountain lion prepared to pounce on him. Then out of nowhere, mayhem rushed in and put itself between Jimmy and the mountain lion, growling and barking, and attacked the mountain lion. The noise of the fight woke Jimmy up. He reached for his gun and took aim. Mayhem's ferociousness scared the surprised mountain lion to flee. But as it was running off, Mayhem sank his sharp teeth into its thigh. A shot rang from Jimmy's rifle, and the mountain lion was left lifeless in the woods. On return home and seeing his 3-year-old son sleeping peacefully, tears rolled down Jimmy's face. He couldn't help but ponder what would have happened if Mayhem had not saved his life. Jimmy caressed Ethan's hair and remembered how death had taken Fiona from him and little Ethan during his birth. That night, Jimmy served Mayhem the biggest portion of his catch. Early next morning, Jimmy set out to the next village to buy a few medical supplies to treat Mayhem, whom he had left at home with young Ethan. At the village, Jimmy's attention is drawn to a crowd at the town square. An older man pushes a younger guy aside to get a closer look at what the poster was about. Jimmy then goes closer to read the announcement. It was a hunting competition for hunters and their dogs. Jimmy decides to enter the competition with Mayhem. He then sees little Ethan joyfully playing with Mayhem on his arrival home. He couldn't wait to break the good news to them. That very night, Jimmy treated Mayhem's injuries and began cleaning his rifle. The day before the competition, Jimmy and Mayhem left for the next village, very excited and confident. Upon arrival, all contestants were briefed on the rules and prizes to be won. The hunting pair with the biggest kill gets awarded a new rifle with a year's supply of bullets. But the second wins only a 6-month supply of bullets. The competition commenced. Jimmy and Mayhem, along with other contestants, headed into the thick forest in search of their kill. With the clock ticking quietly after several hours, one could notice the anxiety on the faces of all the crowd gathered at the town square. But before sundown, the crowd noticed some of the hunters from afar. Their eagerness to discover every hunter's kill grew even stronger. Cheers, applause, smiles could be seen and heard very loud as the contestants and their dogs approached the crowd with their kill. Surprisingly, another contestant, Mickey, and his dog, Drago, surprised everyone present by laying down a huge warthog. Another contestant, Mario, and his dog, presented the judges and the crowd with a deer, yet Jimmy and his dog, Mayhem, were nowhere to be found. The crowd, upon waiting patiently for some few hours, got frustrated and called for Mickey and Drago to be crowned champions. Moments before the prize was awarded to Mickey, a young boy from the crowd spotted Jimmy and Mayhem from afar. He yelled so loud that everyone in the crowd noticed the pair dragging a huge kill towards the crowd. When Jimmy got closer, everyone's face was lit in awe, with applause even louder than the first. Jimmy and Mayhem had killed a long-horned and fierce-looking bison. Without hesitation, Jimmy and Mayhem were crowned the new champions. They couldn't help but broke into tears of joy. Jimmy shared part of the kill among the crowd, took his portion, the new rifle, coupon, and headed back to his farmhouse. That night, Jimmy, Ethan, and Mayhem feasted on their kill. Few weeks passed. On a brightful morning, one could hear the chirping sounds of the birds around the farmhouse. Jimmy, on his way for the usual hunting, noticed that Mayhem was a little ill. He then left little Ethan and sick Mayhem both home. Few hours later, on his return, from a distance, he noticed little Ethan lying in a pool of blood. Jimmy rushed closer. He saw Mayhem's snout and fur soaked in blood stains. Jimmy paused for a second, reached for his new rifle, aimed closely at Mayhem. Without hesitation, a shot rang very loud from his rifle. The bullet, moving at such a top speed, penetrated deep into poor Mayhem's skull. With a loud and sudden cry, Mayhem fell to the ground, with blood oozing fiercely, leaving Jimmy's best friend lying lifeless. Jimmy rushed to save his helpless little son. Surprisingly, when he got near, little Ethan was alive. Then, with a heavy breath of relief, Jimmy spotted a fox laying close, soaked in blood and severely wounded. Then he realized that Mayhem had got into a bloody fight with the fox while protecting young Ethan. Tears rolled down Jimmy's face as he rushed to Mayhem's body. He picked it up, trying all he could to revive his friend. But poor Mayhem was unresponsive. Indeed, patience, they say, is really a virtue. If only Jimmy had exercised a little patience, his friend Mayhem wouldn't have been dead by now. On that highway, if only they had exercised a little patience, that road rage turning into a fatal accident, causing lives to be lost, wouldn't have happened. If only she had exercised a little patience when she caught her husband in bed with another woman, she wouldn't have pulled that trigger. If only that man had exercised a little self-control during that argument, he wouldn't have been charged with domestic violence. Day in, day out, we are faced with similar situations that require self-control and just a little patience. Therefore, let's be slow in reacting when it comes to such circumstances. For had I known, it's always at last. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of such interesting and thought-provoking stories. Your comments are always encouraged. Thanks for watching. Umseeka-Tv, unity in diversity.
Umseeka-Tv, unity in diversity.